Please do be seated. Well, welcome friends to the 2024 Birthday Convocation. We come together today to honor and celebrate some truly terrific individuals and their contributions to Washington College and our community. There's such a wonderful spirit around this community, and one way that I most often see that reflected back is in our service to others. We're fortunate to study, to work, and to learn in an environment that places an incredibly high value on that community, and also on kindness and on looking for ways to make this campus and this world a better place every day. And those enduring values are really what we are going to highlight today and celebrate in our program when we share more with you about today's richly deserving honorees and their accomplishments. We're joined today by many special guests seated here on stage with me, and we will introduce every single one of them officially as we move through the program. First, I want to thank you all for being here today and for being part of this long-standing and unique tradition of Washington College. The first guest that I have the honor to introduce and invite forward is one of Washington College's young citizen leaders. Her name is Miranda Parrish, and she is a member of the class of 2025. As president of the Student Government Association, Miranda will deliver greetings on behalf of the students of Washington College. Miranda.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It feels like it's just been a couple of weeks since I last spoke to you all, but instead it's been a couple of months, which is crazy to think about. In those months, the SGA has been incredibly active and collaborative throughout the school and the Chestertown community, and I'm going to talk about those today. So since fall convocation, when I last spoke to you all, we've hosted a leadership summit, when we invited other Centennial Conference schools to attend in order to learn about each other's student government associations and help plan and entertain the community in their Chestertown Halloween parade. We also introduced our expanded recycling program, which you can see around campus today, and we also created and gave away take-home self-care kits for Reading Day last semester. Throughout all of these events, our team showed the passion and excitement that we have for students and for the school. While we are all on the executive board, every student here works hard to pursue their passions and their visions for their peers. Clubs have hosted countless events, including the Latinx Student Union's Culture Night to Psychology Club's Letters of Gratitude Night. The collaboration between club leadership and attendees made these events not just possible, but also a success. This allows us to get work done and provide an engagement
to you all.
Thank you so much, Steve. At this moment, I would like to invite Dr. Ki-Ho Kim, Provost and Dean of the College, to present the Cromwell Award for Innovation in Teaching. Dean Kim.
Good afternoon, everyone. So in honor of the 6th anniversary of the dedication of the Cromwell Center for Teaching and Learning, and in recognition of the continued generosity of its center's benefactor, Barbara Cromwell, and her late husband, George, we announce the creation of the Cromwell Award for Innovation in Teaching. Washington College is an institution that prides itself on the quality of its teaching, and as any good teacher knows, teaching excellence is not a one-time achievement. Rather, it is an ongoing process that requires faculty members to continue to develop their skills and constantly rethink their own approaches to teaching and learning. The Cromwell Center for Teaching and Learning seeks to sustain and encourage Washington College's instructors on this journey with an award for innovation in teaching. This honor, awarded annually, recognizes achievements in the use of new instructional technologies, the use of traditional technologies in creative ways, novel approaches to instruction, and new ways to engage students in the learning process. As such, the award seeks to reward instructors who have a particularly powerful impact on student learning, student readiness, and student retention. The 2024 Cromwell Award for Innovation in Teaching is being awarded to to 2 faculty members for their collaborative and interdisciplinary approach to teaching social sciences. Sarah Clark-DeReza, Chair of the Department of Education, and Megan Gross, Chair of the Department of Communication and Media Studies, together created a research methods course in 2023, and they have both used hashtag syllabus assignments to engage students in collecting resources. Clark-DeReza and Gross created qualitative and descriptive methods in social sciences in the spring of 2023. The course provides students an overview of qualitative and descriptive research methodologies in education, communication and media studies, anthropology, public history, and other related fields. The course brings students together with faculty across the campus, student collaborators, community members, historians, and other local leaders as they learn and apply research methodologies and principles shared by social science disciplines to real-world subjects. The course's initial offerings have examined civic engagement at Washington College to better understand the current state of those efforts and to identify opportunities to improve the reach and impact. Through the hashtag syllabus approach, Clark-DeReza and Gross have worked with students to assemble lists of multimedia resources, both scholarly and popular, about a current issue through the historical and philosophical underpinnings. These assignments encourage critical information literacy through exploration of alternative knowledge production and collaborative work in digital media spaces. Assembling the hashtag syllabi requires students to reflect on the biases and the limitations of formal academic resources and actively combats them through the curation of materials from a wide variety of sources and types of expertise. Gross and Clark-DeReza published an article on their approach in the peer-reviewed journal College Teaching and have presented on the approach at professional meetings. Megan, Sarah, please come forward to receive your award.
Dr. Black joined Washington College 27 years ago after earning his PhD in history from Indiana University. His research focuses on Russia, especially 1920s Leningrad. He has studied factory labor and Communist Party politics from the years 1923 to 1934, and in recent years he has expanded his research to the political career of Grigory Zinoviev. How did I do? All right. Zinoviev was one of the most important Bolsheviks of the 1917 revolution. Outside of the history department, Dr. Black is also central to the success of Washington College overall, providing active service to our community continually since he joined us, working on everything from Middle States self-studies to tenure and promotion of his colleagues. Most recently, Dr. Black served on the Board of Visitors and Governors Ad Hoc Committee on Shared Governance. My good friend and collaborator, Dr. Vic Sensenay. Since starting at Washington College in the year 2015, at that time he was Assistant Provost for Institutional Research and Assessment, Vic Sensenay has helped us understand who we are, how we are doing, and where we are trying to go. In 2017, Dr. Sensenay became Vice President for Planning and Policy and also Chief of Staff. And over the years, he has been a rock of stability during times of great change. Sensenig is also a humane and kind champion of people, as anyone who knows him learns quickly. He has helped to develop a strong staff council with an effective voice in the college's deliberations. Last year, he served on the Shared Governance Committee of the Board of Visitors and Governors, working to ensure that our college draws on the wisdom and the perspective of all of its people. He partnered with the Associate Provost for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion to develop a comprehensive strategic diversity plan that has helped develop the most sustained initiative in our college's history to support diversity, equity, and inclusion on our campus. Sensenig also serves as the liaison officer to the Middle States Commission on Higher Education and has worked closely on the enormously important and complex Middle States study, and I will also add visit, and that is starting on Sunday. And no one will deserve a hug more than Vic on Wednesday afternoon. It's going to go great. Sensenig's work may center on research and thorny administrative problems, but he's not someone who just sits behind a desk and generates reports, although he's excellent at that. He is an active part of the life of the college every day, and he can be seen everywhere, talking to people and really, really listening. You can often find Sensenig cheering on our basketball teams, or attending campus talks or performances, or maybe playing some hockey in the gym from time to time. He's a regular attendee at all kinds of community events, especially those centered on helping young people to grow. Through his fusion of hard work, caring, listening, careful research, and respect, Vic Sensenig exemplifies Washington College at its very best. Thoughtful, agentic, compassionate, and dedicated to creating a better world for all of us. Vic, I'm delighted that you're receiving this award today. Congratulations. Now I'd like to welcome to the stage our dear colleague, Janet Thompson. Janet Thompson takes pride in her work in dining services, and she takes seriously the role that she plays in nourishing our community, both through the delicious food that she prepares and her genuine care for those who partake in it. For
New Jersey, Glenn was there and worked tirelessly to ensure that the college was well represented. During his time as a staff member at the New Jersey legislature, Glenn hosted students for internships, and his selfless commitment of the time and talent to augment our students has promoted the long-term welfare of the college. And I can't really state this enough. Over the past 38 years, or over the past 41 years, Glenn has contributed financially to the college.
Welcoming environment for our students. The children's book illustrator-author couple have been champions for Kent County Public Schools, for literacy, and for creativity in general, and the vibrancy of our beautiful hometown. Recently, they have done even more for not only the college and the community, but also for children and schools in underserved neighborhoods nationwide through their Busload of Books program. They visited at least one Title I school in every state and the District of Columbia. Let me say that again. Every state in the Union and the district, giving away books and holding assemblies that focused on helping students engage with their own creativity. And they collaborated with Washington College faculty to create a research project to measure the impact of the programs providing statistical evidence that the programs improve students' attitudes about reading, and they encourage more reading and more writing. In addition to generating data from thousands of surveys and getting the word out at academic and educator conferences about the value of these visits, Busload of Books has had a profound impact on our student researchers who have honed their communication, data analysis, critical thinking, and people skills. They continue to be motivated by Baron Swanson's energy and passion, and our college, one that continues today with partnerships and student internships flourishing between the college and CBF because of his influence and advocacy. Siemens is exemplary in his example of service to his fellow human beings, to our community, to this nation, and to our world. He truly personifies the words citizen leader. But what his resume cannot reflect is that Siemens is a gift to those who have the pleasure of knowing him. And I'm so delighted to count myself among those folks. He is humble, he is kind, highly intelligent, and he has lived a life defined by service to others. I hope you don't get annoyed with me for saying this. I know it's not polite normally to talk about someone's age, but this is incredible. At the age of 97, you have remained an extraordinarily busy person. You're an organization which works to support women affected by the criminal justice system. Last year, York received the Washington College Alumni Citation at commencement and was elected to the college's Board of Visitors and Governors. York exhibits the dedication to service and commitment to active citizenship that is central to Washington College's approach to education, having dedicated her life and career to efforts that further economic justice and reform the correctional system. Karen, we're delighted to invite you to the podium to be our speaker today.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to the power of service at our annual birthday convocation. I'm both honored and humbled to be invited to be able to speak as an alum and as a member of the Board of Visitors and Governors on this important topic, especially during Black History Month and as we gear up for Women's History Month in March. The President asked me to share how my career path reflects a life of service and what service looks like beyond our campus and after graduation. And in thinking of what I should share, I thought about my initial inclinations towards service and how I define it now, because it was very different. I think my definition of service I was not interested in when I was in college and younger. I was trying to get paid. But when I departed this campus in 2006, I thought I was clear on the career track that I wanted to pursue, law and politics. I was adamant about pursuing opportunities that would position me in government on behalf of the people. I subscribed to the notion that the only way to shift the dynamics in our communities, cities, states, and our country was to work within government, while also recognizing the limitations that government presented. So I sought out opportunities to work in government, serving at the pleasure of our elected officials. I was proud to be able to serve as the assistant to the chairman of the Baltimore City delegation in Annapolis, as this afforded me the opportunity to learn the inner workings of government and use that experience to positively impact my communities, those we serve. Yet, as excited as I was, I found myself very quickly frustrated as I learned how policymaking could create a sense of distrust, apathy, and eventually complacency. In too many instances to name, I found that those chosen to represent the interest of community were actually the farthest removed from the communities they were chosen to serve. They had no clue what the community needed or wanted, but were positioned to decide which policies and budgetary investments would occur for and in these communities. I was conflicted. How can I serve at the pleasure of while ensuring access to power and providing authentic representation for those who are marginalized? Around this time, I attended a talk at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore on James Baldwin, one of my favorite authors. And the moderated discussion focused on 2 Baldwin quotes that the panelists were asked to examine within the context of current American society. Number 1, and these may sound familiar to you, if not, you're welcome. First one, I love America more than any other country in this world, and exactly for this reason, I insist on the right to criticize her perpetually. 2, now this was a quote about Malcolm X. I told y'all this was going to be within the context of Black History Month, so, thank the president because he asked me to speak. What made him unfamiliar and dangerous was not his hatred for white people, but his love for blacks, his apprehension of the horror of the Black community and the Black condition and the reasons for it, and his determination to work on their hearts and minds that they would be enabled to see their condition and change it themselves. The discussion energized me in ways that I could not imagine. I was born and raised in Park Heights, the Park Heights community of West Baltimore City. But I was fortunate to have access to opportunities that afforded me the opportunity to see how other communities were treated and supported, especially while I was a student at Washington College. I saw how certain communities were encouraged, supported, if not urged to use their voice and power for change. And they viewed their version of community service as their obligation. Yet this was not the case in West Baltimore and in many communities around the state of Maryland and in the country where the demographics were overwhelmingly Black and brown. The panel discussion made things clear for me. There's power in community, there's power in service, but what our marginalized communities lack is the power to change the conditions and outcomes in their own communities, and it is exactly why they feel the obligation, if not a mandate, to challenge those in power to dictate how the community speaks up on behalf of itself. So I became less interested in working for government. I wanted to work in community, for community, redefining community service in ways that wasn't performative, but tangible and real. So I officially left government and threw myself into opportunities to serve the community. Policy advocacy and community organizing would be my vehicles. It is no question that my time at Washington College provided me with the nerve to question and challenge anything that facilitated inequity and division. As an international studies major, yes, you were forced to examine how sociology, economics, anthropology, and so much more contributed to the politics of our community, and to be ready to challenge any areas where those policies were harmful. I thought back to my Politics of Development class with Professor Wade, where developing countries gained their independence, prominence, and respect through organized, informed collective action on behalf of their own communities. Informed collective action. Community leaders educated the populace on the why and how behind the conditions in their communities and equipped them with the tools to change it themselves, harnessing that anger into constructive criticism, questioning anyone and everything at every step. Those were my prototypes, and I leaned into them unapologetically. So starting at the Job Opportunities Task Force, where our mission was to help low-wage workers advance to high-wage jobs, I focused on the economic injustices inflicted on workers and job seekers who were impacted by the criminal justice system, but yet effectively shut out of the workforce. As a result, many were forced to consider options for survival that were not legal, and this was most pronounced in communities of color. In response, I used community-informed advocacy and research, working in and with community to pass over 20 laws to decriminalize poverty and race by eliminating educational and employment barriers for working-class communities of color seeking economic stability and security. In New York, at the Women's Prison Association, the nation's oldest organization to support women and mothers impacted by incarceration and homelessness, and its first Black woman president and CEO in 176 years of their history, I focused on gender-specific inequities, impacting women, mothers, and their children struggling through incarceration and homelessness, all of whom were overwhelmingly Black and brown and from the poorest neighborhoods throughout New York City. I led efforts across government, business, nonprofits, and academia to develop innovative community-centered housing for women and mothers seeking another chance to succeed post-incarceration. And now in my current role at Baltimore Core, I focus on increasing access to career pathways and positions of power and civic service for BIPOC professionals, BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color, professionals who maintain the same educational credentialing as their white counterparts, but fail to access the same viable economic opportunities and competitive wages to help close that thing called the racial wealth gap. At Baltimore Core, we define service as intentional, proactive action and/or programmatic designs to address systemic inequities, promote justice, and foster positive outcomes for marginalized communities, particularly those affected by racial disparities. We are clear that community service should never be limited to just one day a year. Key example, Martin Luther King's birthday is now a day of service. So for one day in January, folks will do this thing where they regurgitate a bunch of Martin Luther King quotes and then spend a few hours that day doing something. That's then paraded on social media as impactful, and then the next day they go back to subscribing to the same tactics and practices that run in diametric opposition to what Dr. King, a radical community advocate and leader, actually represented, effectively bastardizing his work and mission. Dr. King didn't shy away from challenging anyone, including the President of the United States, and he did not shy away from accepting criticism. He recognized his role as a leader, and because of that leadership, he had the people behind him and with him, giving him the power to push someone like President Lyndon B. Johnson, a Southern Democrat, to enact two key laws, Civil Rights Act of '64 and the Voting Rights Act of '65, on behalf of community. Service in how I lead and support my staff as an employer. If not, I lose in how I lead and support my staff as an employer. If not, I lose the respect and support of the team I was chosen to lead and serve. So I urge us all to re-examine how we define community service. I charge each of you, and especially this storied academic institution, which I love, and I hope, that my little one, I'm pregnant. You see if she chooses here. But to think critically and intentionally about what it looks like to serve community. In academia, yes, community includes students, faculty, and staff. How are you using your power and privilege to serve community? What does it look like to share your power with the community for the benefit of community? Is your position of power and privilege being used to benefit and center the community you serve? I love serving the community. I love being challenged by the community that I serve. I love being challenged by community to be better. And as a result, my community loves and protects me in ways I could never imagine. And this is a direct result of my ability to redefine how I show up for and in community in the name of service. I thank you for your time. It's so good to see many of our esteemed faculty here. Thank you for allowing me to